Welcome to a new edition of the Jump Ball Power Rankings. We got a week full of games and the rankings have begun to shift, so let's take a look. Coming in at number 30 is the Houston Rockets. They finished the week 0-3, and to be honest, Dillon Brooks, the guy who's supposed to be their defensive stalwart, is getting cooked left and right. He wanted to take on Victor Wembanyama at the end of the game against San Antonio, and Wembanyama let him know he saw him. And then there's the night against Steph Curry, who this was just flat out embarrassing. Getting him jumping all over the place, fly by him as he goes for the three, and then makes this face afterwards. Just a brutal week for the Rockets and for Dillon Brooks. Coming in at 29 is the Portland Trailblazers. They finished the week 1-3, eking out a win against the Toronto Raptors to close the week out. And DeAndre Ayton, who struggled the first three games, all blowouts for the Blazers, he picked up 23 rebounds in their win against the Raptors. A nice little step up for him because he certainly hasn't been dominating. Coming in at 28 is the Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah, even though they weren't going to have Ja Morant to start the season and we knew about the Steven Adams injury and Brandon Clark already out, I still did not expect this team to start 0-4. It's been a brutal start for them. They're not solid defensively. They're struggling on offense. They don't have enough shooting with Luke Kennard out with the concussion, and they're going to dig themselves a hole I'm not sure Ja can get them out of when he does return. Coming in at 27 is the Washington Wizards. And yeah, they picked up a win against the Memphis Grizzlies, but they've also been getting crushed by everybody else. And this play right here is a big reminder that Jordan Poole is not Steph Curry. At 26 is the San Antonio Spurs. They won 1-2 this week, and their win was against the Houston Rockets, a nice one in overtime. But you know what? They can't move up when they get destroyed by the Clippers by 40 points on Sunday night. And one thing we've learned very clearly, they need a point guard, a legitimate starting point guard. They don't have one on the roster. Point Sohan is not working. He's playing out of position, and Trey Jones, at best, is a high-level backup. Coming in at 25 is the Brooklyn Nets. They easily could be 3-0, but they're 1-2. That's why they're here. They lost on opening night by 1 to the Cavs, lost to the Mavs by 5, but pulled out a win against the Charlotte Hornets, which is nice, but still not enough to really vault them in the rankings. Those losses right there, although close, it's a tough situation for them to be in. Their defense right now is just not defending at a high level. Coming in at 24 is the Toronto Raptors. And although they have a new coach, nothing has changed. They still have a terrible half-court offense. In fact, it is the worst half-court offense according to Synergy Sports Tech. Their half-court offense has a points per possessions of 0.811. That's simply just not going to do it for this team. And if they get to play in the half-court, they're going to lose more often than they're going to win. Coming in at number 23 is the Charlotte Hornets. They're 1-2 so far this season. And let's just put the record aside for now. Brandon Miller has shown a lot of promise in his rookie year in just his first 3 games. So we might be going a little too high and too excited, but in these 3 games, he's averaging 17.3 points a game, shooting 43.8% from 3, and averaging 6 rebounds a night. That's a big number from the wing spot. Hopefully that can continue for the Hornets, and maybe they can add a few more wins along the way. At number 22 is the Chicago Bulls. And Billy Donovan had to feel like Donald Glover walking into a room on fire after game 1 when he walked into a players-only meeting. Right after game 1. That's wild. But the pure fact is the Bulls have kind of tried to put some stuff together. They finished the week 2-2. Zach LaVine had a 51-point scoring outage. Even though they lost that game, they still have been able to pull out wins, including a nice win against the scrappy Indiana Pacers. At number 21, we find the Detroit Pistons. Cade Cunningham has come out great to start the season. He's averaging 21 points a game, shooting 40% from 3, but more impressively, averaging 7.5 assists a night. The most important number to keep an eye on, though, is his turnovers. They're a bit high at 5.3. He needs to bring those down to help the Pistons as they begin to try to move forward. And who knows, maybe sneak into the play-in tournament. Coming in at 20, the Utah Jazz. Look, they had a really nice win against the Clippers, and that was their only win of the week. They went 1-3 over the 4 games they played, and they're still kind of struggling trying to figure out where they are, who to play and whatnot. But I'll tell you one thing that's for sure. Lauri Markkanen is continuing to ball, averaging 24 points a game and shooting 46% from 3 and grabbing 8.3 rebounds a night. He's still balling and picking up where he was from last season. Coming in at 19 is the Orlando Magic. They had a tough loss against the Lakers down to the wire, had a couple of good looks to possibly tie the game, couldn't come through on that. But I'll tell you who is coming through for them. Franz Wagner. He's leading them in scoring this season at 19.3 points a night. And quite frankly, he's hooping. He's going to work. And this is the type of guy that we got to keep an eye on for most improved player. I know it's early to start talking about awards, but just keep like a small little eye on that. At 18 comes the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they're 1-2 to start the season. I don't really want to get into that. I want to get into Naz Reid, who quite frankly is just flat out balling for them. He really won them the game against Miami. He completely destroyed them, and he's continuing to keep it up as he's getting going and showing he earned the extension that he got at the start of the season. At 17 is the Atlanta Hawks. Look, Trae Young is struggling shooting right now. He's in the 20s with the three-point percentage, 30 from this two-point field goal percentage, but they had a big win to end the week against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They overcame a 21-point deficit, and they got a huge game from DeJounte Murray, who dropped 41 points in that game to lead them to a 14-point win. That's a 35-point swing, y'all. That's wild right there. That's a big win for the Hawks. Hopefully they can build on that going into next week. At 16th is the Indiana Pacers. They dropped a tough one against the Chicago Bulls, a game they'd probably like to have back. But I'm going to be honest with you. Aaron Nesmith has been killing it. He had a monster dunk against the Cavs, and Tyrese Halliburton rolling. Everything that they're doing, they've got a good thing going right now. And just, again, keep an eye on this team. I'm going to predict it now. They're going to be a top 6 team in the playoffs when this season ends. Coming in at 15 is the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they've already gotten bitten by the injury bug. Jared Allen's out with an ankle. Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are both nursing hamstring injuries, so that only leaves Evan Mobley. And quite frankly, that's probably not enough firepower for this team. As high as I am on Mobley, he's still got a ways to go offensively, and it's a good reason why this team is 1-2. At 14 is the Miami Heat, and they're already resting players. Jimmy Butler sat out their 3rd game of the season. Bam Adebayo sat out their 4th game. He has a hip issue, so, might actually be a genuine injury instead of just sort of a load management situation. Either way, the Heat are 1-3, so that probably means they're going to the finals. At 13, we got the New York Knickerbockers. They gave the Boston Celtics all they could handle in the first game of the season. Just couldn't come out with the win. Jalen Brunson's shooting the ball incredibly well. They're rolling here a little bit, but again, they couldn't pull out the win against the New Orleans Pelicans. Can only muster up to score 86 points. I mean, that's just not good. At 12 are those New Orleans Pelicans that we're talking about. They're sitting at 2-1, and I'll be honest, I just want to talk about Zion. Not just Zion, I want to talk about these dunks he had. He dunked all over Jaren Jackson Jr., the reigning defensive player of the year, and then had a half-court lob. I mean, back-to-back dunks like that. Just unbelievable. If Zion's healthy, this power rankings might just be all about Zion. At 11 is the Dallas Mavericks. And look, they're 3-0, and it's all behind Luka Doncic. It's quite simple. If he's magical, they're going to win. The question is, does he have 79 more games like this? Coming in at 10 is the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I want to talk about Chet Holmgren. He's really amazing. Shooting 60% from the field, 62% from 3. And he had a game where he had 5 blocks in a half. A half, folks. He finished the game with 7 blocks, but 5 blocks and a half. Who does that? The Lakers have dropped to 9. They're 2-2 to start the season. And look, their half-court offense isn't bad. It's generating open looks. They're just not making them, especially from 3. They're shooting 29.2% from 3. That simply is not good enough. They're just eking out wins, and it's a struggle in the half court. If they can't make shots, it's going to be a long season for them. Coming in at number 8 is the Sacramento Kings, and I want to talk about Keegan Murray. He's been okay offensively. His numbers and his efficiency has gone down a little bit, but more importantly, his rebounding has nearly doubled from 4.3 his rookie year to 7.7 this year. He had 2 monster offensive rebounds for the Kings in their overtime win against the Lakers that generated 6 points alone right then and there. Coming in at number 7 is the Philadelphia 76ers, and they finally moved James Harden. You know why? Because Tyrese Maxey is balling. The team is 2-1, but Maxey is absolutely killing it. He's averaging over 30 points a game, averaging 50% from the field, 56% from 3. He's killing it for them. And if he's going to play like this all season, the Sixers are not going to miss James Harden at all. Coming in at number 6 is the Los Angeles Clippers. You know, the team that just traded for James Harden while I was recording the power rankings. They gave up Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Nick Batum, KJ Martin, a 2028 unprotected first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, a 2029 pick swap, and an additional first-round pick from a team that we don't know who the third team is going to be just yet. That's being worked on and probably will come out after this drops. But that's not too bad of a deal for the amount of stuff they gave up, and they're getting not just James Harden, but PJ Tucker in the deal, as well as a Philip Petrosiev. I butchered that name. I apologize, sir. But yeah, that's who's going to the Clippers. Going to be very interesting to see how that works out, because I don't think the Clippers needed James Harden. They were playing really well already after a 40-point whooping they put on the San Antonio Spurs. But let's see how this one plays out. Coming in at number 5 is the Golden State Warriors. And Steph Curry, yeah, he still got it. Look, he's got 2 40-point games. They've only played 4 times. He scored 40 points or more 50% of the time. He is simply balling. He's at a great level right now. The team is 3-1. Very easily could have been 4-0. Just missed on a couple of opportunities against the Phoenix Suns. But this Warriors team, I'm telling you, people are sleeping on them. They're a lot better than everybody suggests. At number 4 is the Phoenix Suns. Look, Bradley Beal has yet to play this season. Devin Booker has only played the opening night, and Kevin Durant is carrying the load for everybody else. And the guys around him are doing pretty well. Yusuf Nurkic is holding up well. It's early in the season, long way to go, but he's doing a pretty good job. The other role players, Josh Okogie's been phenomenal with hustle players. Eric Gordon's playing really well. Grayson Allen started to hit shots the last game they played. The Suns have finished 2-1 this week, and let's see what they got going into the next week. At number 3 is the Milwaukee Bucks. And yeah, we're all watching to see the Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo pick and roll. But there are going to be times where this team's going to look a bit clunky and try to figure out their ways and understand who's doing what and whatnot. It's going to be a work in progress through the season. They still have a high level of talent, but the one other thing to pay attention to is Damian Lillard in the pick and roll. That's where he's at his best. In fact, the numbers according to Synergy, over just a few games, his points per possession in the pick and roll as the ball handler is 1.18. That's amazing. He's killing it right there, and that's going to go a long way for this team as they start to find their groove and figure out exactly who the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be this year. At number 2 is the Boston Celtics, and they're really rolling right now. I mean, this is pretty impressive. Jason Tatum has taken it to another level. His drives to the rim with his dribble handles and how he's getting there have been super impressive. I mean, he had some plays in the game opening night against the Knicks that really kind of raised my eyebrow quite a bit. Kristaps Porzingis has slipped right into the lineup and is just doing a great job for this team. The Celtics are going to be one of the best teams in the NBA this season. And we're at number 1, and no surprise, it's the Denver Nuggets. They have not skipped a beat at all. Jokic, killing it. Jamal Murray, I'm telling you, going to make an all-star, probably going to make all-NBA. Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. sliding right in as role players and doing their job. The bench has stepped up in a big way after losing guys like Bruce Brown and Jeff Green, but Christian Brown has been rolling. They're getting stuff from Zeke Naji, Peyton Watson. This group is doing a great job. The Nuggets have not missed a beat after winning a championship, and after just 1 week, does not look like we have a championship hangover in Denver. That's it for this week's Jump Ball Power Ranking. Come back next week because, there's going to be a lot of movement as, again, I'm still recalibrating and trying to figure out who's good, who's bad, and who's in the middle. So see you next time.